Okay, so we are live. I'm going to put it on Twitter, little post on my Discord. Okay, so now what we're going to do today is going to be the second part of our Markdown meta extractor. I'm going to explain what it is. And we had a live session yesterday. We made some good progress. We now have this kind of Lexer, and there's a single path, and there's a little bit of look ahead. So it's pretty cool. And here I try to format the message. I don't know how to format it with YouTube chat. So here is the subject, and you can find the GitHub over there. It's also in the description, which it should be better here. So that is what we're going to talk about today, and we already have the code over there. So it's going to be public for during streaming, 12 hours, early access members. You can have the join somewhere in the description for 2 days after, and then the live stream members that have scheduled production coding streaming, as well as obviously this live coding indefinitely. So that is going to be the goal. And I'm going to, and that is what we're going to do. A good question here that is coming, which is, can you create a full tutorial about Actix framework for backend? So, so this one is off topic, but it's a good question. I like to take the questions. My go-to framework is Axum, because I think it's very well done. The Actix was a little bit confusing to me. I think it's well done too, yeah, but it was confusing with actors and everything. I don't need all of these kind of things. I think they removed it since then, but I like the freshness and the model of Axum. And they're very similar, but I like it a lot. GraphQL is a whole other story here. I will reserve my judgment for now. But usually what I like to do my services is with JSON RPC. And within the JSON RPC, have a scheme to say, hey, include this and this and this. This way, JSON in, JSON out, nobody has to learn about nodes and all these kind of things. And it's very centric into the model of the applications. So that's my angle of doing it. And usually the things, because we do quite a bit of production coding in my company, Bryce Snow, that is our staff, I like to share what I'm very proficient with. And sometimes I do tutorials like Baby. I'm not a game developer, I do it. But otherwise, on the website, I like to share what I'm. So I'm not an expert in Actix. I don't know how to pronounce it. Web. So that's the things. Yes, so there's one. This is a good one here. Very good question. Can you please create a full playlist tutorial? I had an old tutorial 2 years ago, which is pretty popular, was pretty popular, I think still. So if you look for Rust Axum on YouTube, you should find this one. And then there's a 3 hours video. So if you go to YouTube over there, and you do, here I am incognito. I am in incognito. So if you do Rust Axum, please. Ah, cool. That's me. So that is the first one. It's an old one. I updated the code. Not this one, but I'm going to update it to 0.8, and I'm going to do a 2025 one. So that is what. And then this one is a 3 hours one. And so this one is a huge one. So I'm probably not going to do another long one like that, but it's used my Rust web application framework blueprint, not framework, blueprint that you can find in the GitHub repo, and that I'm going to maintain a lot. I already updated it, and I updated it to the latest SQLX, latest Axum, and all of these kind of things. So that should be pretty good. So I'm going to do quite a bit of more videos. I'm going to refresh the Axum full course, and then I'm going to do more videos. And in the live stream coding for the members, we had these scheduled things where I do a lot of Q&A about the live stream coding. So that is a lot of things. And then the next question is, I'm sorry, I don't. Oh. The next question is, Actix Web is explained in a book called Zero to Production in Rust. Yeah, that's fair enough. So the thing is, the things that we're going to do today is this guy here. So let me explain. Okay, I'm going to go to the test actually. So today the test is there. I have DVI. I don't know if you have seen some of the video. You can look at my video with DVI. I use it all the time. Now it allows me to write my agents in a single Markdown file. So for example, I have a very cool agent now, which is a default, which is, so you can even ask DVI to DVI. So stuff, and then you have a craft code here where you can ask code. And the trick of that is an agent in my world had description. Description doesn't matter. It's just for human, for us. But then the runtime, which is going to become in the agentic runtime, I have the crate as well. But the runtime of DVI is running the data. And then with the data, then you can lay out your prompt, system instructions. So you pass this Markdown file, and that is one agent. And then you can lay out your prompt like that with handlebars, with the data that has been returned. And then you can do some post-processing to save it. What I want to allow, and so that is to understand. And so I need to add that to DVI. DVI was about 10,000 lines of code. And the problem is I didn't want to do a live stream with 10,000 lines of code. It would have been too overwhelming for everybody. So I've tried to say, well, if I did just the function I needed and just this kind of Lexer. And so the Lexer I want to allow the user here, when I do data, I read files. I can read whatever files I do. So here I read by default the craft.code. So if I do, for example, let's say DVI run craft code. So I'm going to take, so it's using my GenAI library, which can talk to any AI engine. And it's going to use this config here. And here I can put anything. I put Olama, the one that I have locally, Grok here, the DeepSeek stuff, which is awesome. Now is my default one. And then the OpenAI, which now I use less. But I have credit and they expire in a year, so I better to use them as well. But this is what I have. And so now with this guy, the DVI is running my guy over there. And you're going to see here what I'm talking about. I have a thing here, and I can say, it's going to be city. Do a loop of 10 and sleep 10 milliseconds. Okay. Now, the way it runs here is I have this agent and all the logic is there. And this agent that I have in my Markdown with Lua code is say, okay, I'm taking the things on top and then I'm giving the answer below. So now I do this, and then by default is Rust, because Rust is the coolest. Because actually in the agents, I say in my prompt, I say somewhere, what is this? Rust, okay? If the language cannot be assumed, assume Rust. Yeah, because obviously, yeah, it's Rust, it's cool. So obviously you can create your own agent. If you want to have your own agent, you take that, you put it in custom, and then you can modify whatever you want. Now, what I want is, I even want to be fancier. So right now, for example, we use DeepSeek chat. But now what I want is to say, well, what if I could go and inside my craft code, so here's a cool thing here, for example, in Lua, and then boom, I press run, replay below, and it will replay it. And then here you see replay it with DeepSeek chat. But if I wanted, do like that, and then I go to here, and I can take whatever I want, Cloud Sonnet, boom. And then I go to my code, and I try run. And then boom, it runs it with the things, okay? With Cloud Sonnet. Now, what I need to do all the time is to go there to change the stuff. What if I could go there and have an API in my DVI to be able to say something like that to ML, and then I will say model and equal DeepSeek chat. So what I want is now is to say, this guy here, this agent, could say, hey, if you have these TOML kind of things, I'm going to parse them and I'm going to change the agent just because you gave me in the prompt. If not, the default one here will be used. So now that's become super recursive, and we can go crazy because now this agent here, craft code, and say, hey, you can give me source files as well. Source files. And then here I'm going to have some source files here, which could have glob. It's already supporting. So I could have source. And then I could have, I don't know, like the other one was adapters, for example. And then something like that. So now the cool thing is my prompt could have that. Now, I don't want to say, oh, if it's TOML, execute them, because perhaps it's a TOML that I want to send to the prompt or whatever, because that the agent can take that and send the prompt. That is the way it works. So the scheme I came up with is kind of this shebang kind of things where I go as to, hey, this is a meta guy. So now if you see a TOML, so now in my code here, you see that I have some APIs where, I mean, this one uses this guy, it's a Lua. I can even import stuff. And then I do a split. Okay, that is a prep input, we don't care. And then we have a prep content. And we split first. Okay, so these guys here, if you look at my DVI code, this is actually implemented. It's Lua, but it's implemented in Rust. And it's going to call the split first, which is implemented in Rust. What I want is to have extract meta. So when I get the content here, yeah, so I have all this logic and everything, and then I return the instruction and the content. So what I want now in my code over there, I want to say, hey, for content, extract me the meta and remove them from the prompt, yeah, from the content, because I don't want to send it to the AI. And that will allow the user to say, hey, I want to have this meta guy, and this agent support this kind of meta information. And then it does is being smart with it. So it's become super kind of recursive, yeah? I'm going to try to go back here. Can you please get stuff with SurialDB? Yeah, again, Axum, yes, SurialDB for me on the backend, it's always Postgres. It's my go-to. So videos that I like to share, I have a dilemma. Yes, do I go the YouTube way and know what I know will make 150K views or whatever? That could be a strategy. Or do I try to think about value first and to say what is best value I can add to the community? And for me is more sharing my 15 years of experience of building a high quality production, big apps application. This is what I do with my company, pricenote.com. So I'm not saying SurialDB is bad. I've done some tutorial and everything, but right now on the back end, it's always Postgres for the shared database. And for the device is becoming more and more SQLite, which is also my guys. So that is the thing and stuff. That doesn't mean that SurialDB is bad. Yes, SurialDB has a lot of functionality, could be very cool. I've done a few videos about it. I have the Tory stuff about it, so it's good. But on the back end, honestly, my go-to is always Postgres. And yeah, Surial website has an amazing, I think, Surial website has an amazing doc, including project books. I agree with that. They're really, really good now. Livestream, I know, but my problem, learning by practice. That's true. Best value plus views. Yeah, I'm trying to that, but sometimes the two are like incompatible, I think. But I don't know. Yeah. Might be my accent too. So the thing I'm saying is, let's go back to this guy. So this is this Markdown, these things that I want to create, yeah, what I call this Markdown meta parser kind of things, which is now I want to parse this content and I want to say, if it's a code block that could be meta executed. So for example, TOML, YAML, JSON. So the problem with JSON is I don't know what happened. Oh, we can try it here. I mean, if I do a JSON is not nice to write. It's a nice data exchange kind of thing, but it's not nice. It's too verbose to write. So it would be silly to do it like this. because the TOML or YAML is much simpler. But if I wanted to do that, the problem here is I don't want to assume that any guys. And so if I do, so I cannot do that. I will do this. Okay. Okay, so VS Code at least is relaxed about this spec. It doesn't, but if you put that in GitHub, they put red everywhere. It's getting ugly, the comment stuff. So the point is supporting TOML and YAML right now, and for now it's just YAML. So what I've done here, the way that I've done, so that I'm explaining you the use case from the beginning. Now, what I've done in the lib guy, okay, so this is the way I work. Typically, that would have been in my DVI code. I wouldn't have split it out. But because I wanted to do a live stream, I think I can do this kind of thing without costing me too much, because I'm organizing the same way. So I have an MD folder and everything. So what I've done is I have the lib. Inside the lib, I have the MD. This one is my way of handling any error. So again, I have a video about Rust error best practices that I like, and I don't go with anyhow because it put me in a different track that I want to do in production. So I like the boxed in, very flexible, kind of hacky, but it's good because it gets me started. And then after I normalize it with my own enum, and then I implement the from and the to, the from str, reference str and everything. And now I don't have a lot of things to change, but now I own my error and I can add the variants. So that's my best practices. So right now, since I'm doing that, and then I decided to put the test there, which I'm going to change today. And so now we don't need the DVI stuff anymore. I mean, we can keep it running, it doesn't matter. So now the things that I like is I have cargo watch. I did a video about cargo test. The problem of cargo test is that it doesn't beacon to run my test because I like to run iterative. And the problem of beacon test is that it does some ninja stuff with the no capture, raw mode and stuff. And I always have to click everywhere. So I'm still using cargo watch for test. And so the thing I like to do is I take this guy, cargo, watch, dash quiet, dash clear, dash execute. And then I do a run. No, I do a test. I take this guy and then do that. And I press that. And obviously I have an alias CWT to do that. And so that will run these things and that will run, oops, sorry, I don't do that. Dash, 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 no capture. And so that is super important. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I disappear. Okay, this is a line. Cargo watch, quiet, stuff, and things. So this is what I have in all my videos. Okay. In fact, I have a bug here, which is obviously that. Capture, like that. Press enter. And then if I do 1p, no, that is funny because it should have printed stuff. I have print some stuff. So the no capture is not getting, oh yeah, okay, my fault. Boom. And now I print the whole thing, okay? So here's what the code is doing. And it's pretty cool. Actually, I'm pretty happy with yesterday. It took me like almost 2.5 sessions because you code slower when you have in a live stream because the brain doesn't work the same, but I'm getting better, hopefully. So I have, the way I work is I like to work very iterative and I like to work in a debug mode. So the use case is what I was explaining here. I gave the full context is to say, I want to parse this guy. So that will be the prompt, the content, it doesn't matter. And I want to keep those guys that are not in code block. If it's a code block that is supported TOML or YAML, if the first line is comment meta guy, then this whole code block will be removed from the content that will be returned. and that should be parsed and merged with all of the other guys. So very easily here I can kind of allow the user or allow the agent to allow the user to like put metadata for the agent to kind of get it in a structured way. So I want to, this one is going to be what I call the meta block. This I will keep, I will keep. This one is another meta block. I will keep, that will go to content, and that will go, that is not a meta block because it doesn't have meta. So the parser and the Lexer that I wanted is, I want to do a single path. I don't want to have these two paths, guys, but I want to look ahead. And I don't want the whole regex stuff because it wouldn't, I mean, it would be weird. So right now I just want to go one and then do these kind of things. The nice things with Markdown is kind of give us a line concept in a way, because most of the things are per line. And then this one is not a meta because it's Python. It has the meta things, but it's Python. It is not, you know, a language supported. So today the thing would say, if it's not supported, I ignore it. I don't throw an error because I want to be script friendly on the stuff. Could have warning later. So this is my test in a way. I put it in a code region because it doesn't close otherwise. And then I have done a meta extractor function. So that is what we have over there. And then the nice thing is when I run this function, for now, I don't do the check in a way. In many ways, that could be the one here with the check. And we can even call it debug, which I want to remove after. Yeah? And so I'm printing the stuff. So this guy is already printing stuff. We're going to show what. And then after I put this kind of separation, and then I know that I need to have two meta blocks. And then in the content, I will do some assert contain kind of things. So that is a way that it works. But right now, when I print it, I can check it. So those guys are the ones that are printed by that. That allows me to kind of debug my things. So when I do a Lexer, usually what I like to do, and we're going to look at it, I like to separate the action. I like to separate the determination of the action and the execution or the doing the action itself. So like that, I don't pollute one too much with the other. The one gets super complicated to read. That's just my take. Yeah. And sometimes I use regex when it's appropriate. Obviously, I'm not anti-regex, but sometimes regex wouldn't add something. So it's not like regex is a universal hammer all the time. So in this case here, I have these things and we're going to see, but that is for every line. I have this action, capture content this line, I capture content this kind, saying, oh, we are starting block. So the action is I start a block. Then this one is we capture in meta block now. Yeah? Because this one, we know that is in meta block, so we can capture back. And then here we close the block. And then we have this kind of things. And then we see that we have the other block, which is not a meta block, and therefore is capture content. So the logic is working pretty well. There's a whole thing. And then after I display the whole content, it's exactly what I wanted. I have the content above, the other meta block get removed, and those two were not meta blocks, so I keep them as such. That is pretty cool. So now, and if you don't hear me, if it's too loud or not loud enough, let me know in the chat. I'm more than happy to fix stuff. And now, so that is pretty cool. So we have the things that works, and this function, which is a meta extract, is working well, but it's not the end user function that I want. Because this one extracts the block and content in a way, and I want it. So I have it there. So the way I have it is I have the MD, and I have the MD types, which is a block, which is a little bit what I have in my thing. And then I have the meta extractor that I'm exporting. I'm flattening out. Yeah? So This way, the caller doesn't have to know the hierarchy of my types because I don't need it. But I want to organize my code. This is what is beautiful about the module system of Rust. So you can use the module system, hierarchy system, to either expose it as a namespace to the client, to the user of the module, or you can just use it as code organization, and then you flatten them out. So it's beautiful. So we have this, we have the thing, and in the meta extractor, if we go there, we don't need this file, we don't need this file, this one we don't need it. And then if we go to the meta extractor, this is that file, okay? So we don't need that anymore. And now we have the actions, so that is the action. So that is a way when I do a Lexer, I like to do this way, okay? I have the action, which is the work that has to be done. And then I take a content, take the line, which is an iterator. So that is very cheap. There's nothing done there. I just create an iterator, kind of struct or whatever, and then I can iterate it, and then it's on demand in a way. Yeah. In this mode, the goal is the string is already in memory. When the string is in a file, you want to have a string buffer and read it, and you want to avoid to have everything in memory. Yeah. But then it gets more complicated. But this one is a simple one, is what I need anyway in my thing. So then we have the vector of all of the contents. So that will be what we're going to do, the join over there. And then we have the MD blocks, and that is a blocks. So in fact, this one is not really the one that I want public. This one will probably, I'm going to do something like that, MD blocks and content. Very long, I can find a smaller name later, but this one won't be public because the public one that I want, I'm going to remove the public later, but the public one that I want is going to be something like that, which is pub fn. We're going to call it meta extractor because it's cool, or meta extract, or extract meta, extract. And then we're going to take the content. So it's going to be the same thing, content, str. And then we're going to take, sorry, no, just the content. That's it. So this guy is going to call the one below, and it's going to return, here it is, it's going to return the result. Again, in this code, the result is boxed in, yes, so it's fine. And the result is going to be the value, and that is going to be the JSON value, which I already imported there before. That is a CRD value. That is the way I want. So what I want is, today we're just going to support TOML, but I want to transform TOML to CRD value, and the reason to CRD JSON value, and the reason why is because I also want to support YAML. And so I think they both have different values, but I'm pretty sure that they have a tour into a CRD value because they're all part of the same family business, I think, I hope. Otherwise, I can write it, it's no big deal. And then the other one will be the content. That is what I want to return as a function. And in fact, in my DVI, what I'm going to do is that will become in Lua, because I bind it to Lua with mLua, which is awesome. So that will be extracted as utils. So I have this kind of a global state, utils. I will probably below text because that is a text business, yeah? And I will do a meta extract probably. Extract. And, yeah. Dot S. For example, will be bound to Lua as stuff, and then we do the content, whatever content is there. And then in Lua, you do local is the same thing, and then I will do value or values or dictionary or whatever we want to call it. values, okay. Value object, okay. And then content. And so that is nice because in UI you have these things where that's the way it supports multiple values, okay? And so that will bound, not to this one, I will probably have another one. So that will be the Rust implementation, and then I will have a Lua extract. So that is the way it's organized in my Rust. So that is the way it's going to be. It's going to be super powerful because then after the agent will have that in its Lua code and can change stuff the way it wants. And then it's super powerful. And it looks silly like that, but anyway, I don't want to explain too much, but the vision that I have for DBI and the agentic crate is I want this agentic runtime, and I don't care about the whole marketing stuff, but stuff. So it's not about being cool. I want this agentic runtime. So I need to simplify what is an agent and making it smaller and more lightweight, such as you can do agent composition. And in a way, I can even have AI, and today it works with DBI run ask DBI, where you can have a DBI generating an agent. And with this kind of functionality, it becomes like super simple because you can have agents that take metadata from the user prompt and everything. That's the reason why. So now that is a public facing. So those guys, here, so now it should, yeah, this one is, I rename it with F2, so it points to this one. So now all these guys, I don't want it public because it's not something I'm going to expose to the world. So I'm going to make it private. But if I make it private, then the test is going to complain because the test was in lib. Well, it's not really a problem because now we're going to take this, take the whole test, do this, and then we're going to move. Sorry, I'm being slow here. And you're going to understand why. So I like to have what I call support. And support is a support of whatever is public. So that is what I like. You can call it private or whatever, but I like to have these blocks. So on top, I have the public stuff, and then I have the private thing or whatever you want to call it. And I will move, and then this is a test over there. And then I'm going to move these two guys. Okay, support. So everybody has their own style. The thing I like is to have this stuff which is relatively, if I do, a nice code folding. Yeah, so when I fold my code, I see what is public here. I have the support there, or utils, or private, or whatever you want to call it. But that I know. When support, I know it's only for the module that is stuff. And sometimes the support is its own file, but I know it's only for the module and down. Because children, compared to humans, children module in Rust have access to everything that the parent has. And so then after I have my test. So that is the way I have like this. So that is the things that we have. So now, thanks a lot, Lemia. And my God, yesterday you stayed until super late, and you're like already up. I don't know if you're the one that stay until 4 a.m. or whatever. So meta extract and everything. Of course I did. So the thing is, so meta extract is going to be the public one. Now I move the test here. There's someone that is still complaining somewhere, and I think it's because I had the MD. So again, here I go. Unfortunately, it doesn't fold this. I think I read it. For VS Code to fold, they will need to have more info on the compiler, so they didn't have it, which is understandable. And that will be a super. So what I usually do, I do the super here. So like this, you feel that you're on the same guy. Then boom. Then boom, it works. Yeah, so I've done my things and stuff. And usually when I will be here, Well, I'm going to explain what's going on there, and then I will do the test. So I have the test, and I'm happy I have the print. This is the way I work, by the way. Yeah, this ad hoc labs, I will work probably faster because I wouldn't have to explain. But this is, I would have done exactly the same thing. Yeah, I would have started in libs, move it there, private, and it's like, oh, and stuff. So don't try to like design everything ahead of time. Now, what I know is I want to get rid of that, and I want to have assert. I'm not going to be sweating too much about making all the, even for my dev AI, all the possible combination. I have a big one here. It's kind of ugly because in many ways I test many different things, but I have enough courage right now to get started. And then as bug comes, then after I split them out. So that is going. In fact, the way that I'm going to do it is I can change the name right now. So this one is a little bit, so I do a test and I do what I'm testing. This is a little bit long if I change the name stuff, and I do simple, which the name is not really simple. But I mean, that is not, I test too much here, but this is the one. And so I test this. Now I do this, it's going to have no test. And then I copy that. The name is too long here of my function. I will fix it, but this is my best practice. The one I have is to test a function you have. And then you do simple, because sometimes I do simple, okay, if I need to test the error, and then error if I need to do the stuff. So this is my way. Have your own way. This session is not to say that my way is the best, it's just to say how it works for me, and then you cherry pick what you think is good for you. There's not a universal way, there's no universal hammer and stuff. It's just about cherry picking and having a good story when you have your best practices. And sometimes I repeat the stories to myself to see that everything kind of snap together. So now I have this guy, I'm pretty happy. And I'm going to do a cargo watch test. Oh, I'm not here anymore. Sorry, nobody told me. Boom, I'm here. I don't know if people care or not. That would be interesting to know, actually. The thing I was saying is that I want to do the assert. But before doing the assert, I'm going to run this guy. Obviously, something is wrong. That's funny. Oh, no, I did not change the name. Okay, boom, get that. So again, this is the way I work, because what I did yesterday, what we did yesterday, for people that liminal and everything, because that was a long session yesterday, but it was a pretty cool one. So, and we're going to review a little bit the thing. So I get the content here, so the content that we had there. I split the line, and this is my data that I want to return over there. Yeah, so far so good. This one here, I'm not doing a string. It's very important when you want to build a string from strs or even from string. It's better to build a vector of your ref str, and at the end, you join to build your string. So that it's not important, it's not critical. But otherwise, if you add to the string, if you do a push to the string, the string buffer is one buffer. So every time it's going to have to find another big place for everything else plus your stuff and then add it to it. If you do a vector, first the vector grows. Every time it needs to add more, he add actually the double of what he has or something like that. So it's efficient the way it adds the capacity business. And second of all here, I just keep the reference. And then when you do the join, Rust libraries, again, super smart. They are looking at the length of each one, and they are booking the one at once and everything. So this is why you want these kind of things. Yeah, and not have a string and do a push. It's as simple most of the time, and it is a nice optimization. Now, does it change really the application? Not really. Yeah, sometimes everything is about order of magnitude. Yeah, so these kind of things might not change, but you know, it's cheap to do. Then after I have this meta block, which is a type that I only use down there. Honestly, it might be good to have a more kind of name. So this one, the type are very different. This is a lang, and that is the content of the star of the lines. Sometimes I do like this where I start things. I like to name it. This is why I name it type rather to repeat it. And that can become a full struct. The cool things with Rust is I can do, this is awesome, I can define a type there, or I can define a struct there, meta block. Okay, and then I do that. So that is actually pretty cool because you can do inline and you don't have to pollute anything else. It's just the business of this function and just cooking of this function. And you can put, the thing I like is this region business, so you can put all your stuff there and so on. This is awesome again with Rust. I don't do that often, but sometimes it's useful. So here, for example, if I wanted to clean up the code, I might do that at some point because in fact, the first thing I will do something lang and then block content lines. So at least I know what it is. The whole goal when I code is how can I code in a way that if I come back in 6 months, I can catch up very fast. So I'm treating my future self as a different self. That is the way I code. And the reason why I love Rust is it's the language that has made my future self the happiest. That's it. That's why I like Rust. So it's not about Z, Go, or whatever. I do that because my future self is always happy when he looks at code again. So the current meta block and default. So here I create the options. And so this is all of the states. It can look ugly because usually I don't like to have states like that. But when you do a Lexer, you need to have these states. And so it's like, where do you store the state and everything? It can become complicated. Sometimes when you are using crates that helps you to do Lexer or state management, then they have their own way of managing it, and then you try to. So it's a tricky one. Yeah. So we have the current meta block when we know it's a meta block, if it's in a block or not, if it's an in candidate block, because there's a little bit of look ahead. Yes, remember we look at the. If we go, I'm going to try to do something here. Give me a try. Yeah, I can do that. So if you go down in my test, remember this is a look ahead. We don't know if so this is candidate block, but we don't really know. And then now we know. Now we have enough information because we have these two. And again, I don't want two passes. So that's why I have to have these two states. I have to say, hey, I am in a block. I have the state, which is the current meta block. So that means it's good. We have the current meta block. And then in a candidate meta block, so we are there, we pass this, and now we are reading this guy, and we don't know yet. And then because we have this guy and the first line is the one that matters, we have to have the state first block line. Then I have my action guy, and I have my previous line because I'm going to have to keep this one because if I'm going to have the previous one. In fact, there's another state here, which is a lang state, but that's another business. But I'm going to have the previous line because, again, if I'm not in a block, now I want to add the previous line in the content. So that is why there were a good question yesterday. Hey, do you need all of the states? And unfortunately, or whatever, the answer is yes. Yeah. Because you have to capture that. And in fact, there's another one here that we don't have because I compute it twice, which is this one. Yeah, the way I will do result and stuff, this one could be in candidate Blake stuff, and hear me out. This one could be, and I would change that, obviously, probably not today, depending if people want it, but that I will do it as an option of str. And the str is a lang, the language, and that will be known at the beginning. So now in candidate meta block, when we go to a candidate meta block, I want to parse this guy only once. because otherwise when I add it, I need to add it back to my end block because I need then later to know how to, parse the content. So in this case, I'm using this flag, and rather to use true false, now false is known and true is str of that lang business. And if there is no lang, it's not a candidate anyway. So it won't be. It's not a candidate, so we can rule it out. And so it's a normal block. So I will do that. I'm not going to change that today because it's working, and I want to work on the rest. This is kind of a nice to have in a way. Right now, it's good enough. I parse basically the thing twice, the lang twice, which is, I don't really parse it, I do the thing. Let me try to do this. Okay. So now what we're going to do, so now here's the magic that with what we're doing is, and that is the thing I was talking to you about. First, we determine the action. So the goal here is to look at all this business here, the states and stuff, update them and so on, to say, what do we need to do for this line? And then once we have the action, then we do the work. You don't have to do it like this. The reason why I grew to like it, to do it like that, is because now my action, this code block, doesn't pollute the decision. So one is the decision, one is the action. And so sometime in the action, I have some data and stuff. And then the two already work hands in hands. Yeah. So that is the way it works. So I don't want to go too much in the logic here, but if we are in a block, we have some logic. We need to look at the candidate and everything to make sure, do we have a candidate? Here is today, we are supporting only TOML. The goal here is I'm going to clean this up, and that will probably be the time when I stop, where I need to say, well, I need to support TOML and YAML. And that could become an enum, by the way, perhaps. And so that the logic here of this finding when we start, are we at the end of the block, are we at the beginning of the block and stuff. And so that is where we say, well, the action for this line is close block or start block. So that is the way it works. And then if it's not, then we have to say, well, if we are not at the starting as a tick, 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 then we have to say, hey, if we are in block, we have some logic here to understand if we are in a meta or not. And if we are not in a meta, because now we know if it's the first line. So this is why we have the first block line. Then we know, and then we say, okay, capture in meta block, or we just capture content. It's not a block. But this is the way it works. And then it goes down. And then we have the action, and then we process the action. And so now the nice thing here, which is beautiful about the thing is, I can, and this is the things that we did yesterday, I just do the print of the line. And now I can check if my logic, the top one, was wrong. Capture content, yes. Capture content, yes. Capture content, yes. Start block, so far so good. Meta block, I'm very good. Close block, good. And so I can go down and be very happy. And yesterday there were bugs and say, okay, stuff and things. And so I have that. So at least here, at this stage, when I do my print, I can quickly validate that the one above is right. And then I do the one below. And so initial, I printed it here because we should never be at initial. I have the initial state action there. This, you can treat it as option known perhaps or whatever, but this way I always have a state. So this one, could be cleaner or whatever, but that is one thing. I will probably comment this one, and then do that, and I will do that. Logic. And then if I had a trace, I would trace it there. And now I want to remove the debug print because that is not really a thing that I want. If we start a block, we don't know. We don't have any information yet, enough information to say, what are we doing? So I have the action state. So like this, I have my cool little logic. And then, I don't know. And then if we close the block, that is where we need to say if we have a current block. And if we have one, we create a current meta block, we close it, and then we add it. And then we set it to none. I think there's a more elegant way here, but this one, there's a tech way, but I couldn't do stuff. But that works, okay? Because I think if we do that, it's not going to like it. Yeah. So we do these kind of things. And then we have a content purge here. If it's not a meta block and we close the block, then we capture the line. It's fine. And then if we capture in content, this is what we have. So that is just we capture the content line. There's a little trick here when it's the last line and everything. We need to also capture the previous line if it's the first block line. Yeah, something like that. So because otherwise it doesn't capture the beginning of the non-meta blocks. So this is where, because we need to, again, we look ahead in a way. So it's only when we know it's not that we need to capture the previous guy. And right now, that change the state here. If you don't do that, it breaks. The thing I don't like on the little note here is to say, I don't like the fact that it changed state over there because nothing else changing state over there. So that's just one thing. But this one actually changed state here. Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't know. But that again is for my future self. Yeah. But that works pretty well, so I'm not going to overstuff. And then this one was fixed because we added that. And then capturing meta block, we just capture the meta block, and then that's it. And then that's it. And then we have our little super cool Lexer that is super fast now. So what I will do now is I will go back there. I will remove this guy. And I will have the content join. This is good. Now I have this there, which is good. So I check visually. It's cool. And here is a way. And then, so the goal is some test is better than no test. So you don't want to put the burden on yourself to try to do like too smart or whatever. So what I will do is to say, well, I need to have the first block, and I'm going to assert that is equal to. So I'm not going to try to parse it right now. It's just a block content. Yeah? So the first block actually has that. Okay. First meta block. So I will say here, I will say assert meta blocks. So I will do assert. So I like to do this way. No, sorry. Assert equal. And then I have, so was a question, what do you put first? You know, the stuff, but MD blocks length, and then 2. So we know that. Press save, make sure it doesn't complain. Everything passes, good. And we can actually want to comment these guys out. Okay, so that's good. Then after, what I want to do is I want to assert. I'm going to say let MD block, and I'm going to do MD blocks first. That will return the first, and then do a OKR, and I have the box din over there, and I'm going to do a OKR MD block. So that will give me this guy, and then I will do assert MD block content contains, and that is where I will do that. that should give me, okay, so I'm still happy. So far, so good. And then after I can do the same thing. So at this stage, honestly, well, yeah, it doesn't. So get one should have at least two. And meta blocks. Meta block, just to be sure. And oh, just to be sure, just to be clear. We have this. This one should complain here. Yes, because it doesn't contain that. So I will go back. So let me again do my little thing here. Okay, so I'm here. I'll go back there. And I'm going to do temperature. That is what I should have over there. Boom, passes. That's pretty cool. And then I will do assert content. And here it is, yeah, assert. So I will say something like that. Such as at least I can, when I see the error, I can do a search and find. I don't have to, be super smart. And then I do an assert, and then I will do an assert meta, content, contain. And that is where, this is why I do some more too, okay? Because I can do that. And sometimes in my code, I have some helpers for the assert contain, such as I don't have to repeat all the time and stuff. Okay, so this one doesn't complain, yeah? And then I will do, this is pretty cool. I will do this guy. And then I will do as well. I will do this guy here. Can I do a multi-line here? Multi-line, I don't like it. I don't want to. Okay. And then I will do this guy. And then I will be happy. I mean, can always like fail here, but I feel that that will be enough. So there's different strategy, obviously. You don't have, and I want to make sure that at least we have 1 2ML. To try to respect somehow the order. And then, okay, one more. Okay, that's some. So the reason why that is important, at least in my world, is because when you do a Lexer and stuff, things can break very easily. The logic, you see, there's a lot of states and everything. So it can get quickly into the weeds here. So that is one thing that we need to worry about. Now, what we're going to do So this is pretty cool. And in fact, what I'm going to do is at the staff, git log, git. I don't know if we added some guys, git and let's say upgrade, whatever. MD Extractor add test. Okay, that's fine. GPO, you should have it. Okay, so that is pretty cool. So now that we have this, is what we want is this guy. So we have the content, so the content is super easy. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do like that, and we're going to have the value and the content. And we're going to do that, content, question mark, then we should be happy. Press save, compiles, everything good. Now no, it's not the value, sorry, the meta blocks. Okay, that is what we have. So now the way that I will do it, and probably that we close for that session, is rather to have all the blocks and merge it, we're going to have only one for now. And then we'll do the merge later and stuff. Or you can do the merge as an exercise or anything, but I think this is the thing. So what I'm going to do is to say, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another function, actually, support. So the way I will do is I will do like that. Because this one is a big beast. So I will do the Lexer. And it's not a Lexer like dogmatic, yeah, but it's close enough and it looks cool anyway. And then this one will be the merger, the value merger. Or the block parser, the block value parsers. And so in this one, what I want is, I will do that. I will do that right now. Fn merge values, whatever name, I can change it later. Meta blocks. And then I will be this one. I can take the ownership. Yeah, I'm okay to take the ownership here. Because I don't need it after. Yeah? The reason why I do MD block and not meta block is because in my dev AI, I have the meta block. And then I do a result of what? Value of a result of value, sorry. Value. And then I will do something like that where return okay value null. Yeah, so right now, why I do that? Sometimes I do this stuff, it's weird. So that is, I will return the value null, and then I will do something like that, where I will do let value. Copilot should be good on this one. Copilot should be good on this one. So that's it, I will do that. So obviously, I will do my test. So I have two ways of doing the test here. I'm going to do it here. The test is here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So now take that guy and I'm going to rename it. You're going to understand why. FX MD. Well, whatever. And then I'm going to do a const. That will be str, static str, but that is nice with us. Then I'm going to take that, take that, take that, and put it here. You guessed it. I have it there. Boom. So I have one FD, and I can MD simple. Okay. Whatever. And now I can do my test. FN test. And I'm going to try to do this guy again. MD extract. I'm not. Good question. Yeah. So here I'm. If you really want to be dogmatic, you would test a function at a time. In our case, we don't really need. Yeah. I mean, if we test this one and this one works, might be nice, but this one is so light that I like to test this one. Okay. So that's just a strategy. You can be as dogmatic as you want. Extract and then content. And then str result, and then result void. Yeah, this guy is just for my boxed in business. So in my test, I redo my boxed in because I don't want to be dependent on the guy over there. Because my test is always boxed in. I mean, it's always boxed in. And so I do okay. And do 1p. That. Feel free to ask question here. There's only 6, but you're the 6th best. So it's awesome, guys. And something doesn't work out. Okay. Oh no, what it does? What is it? I did the wrong function as the test cannot have any argument. Oh my God. That's silly. Sorry, guys. And now what I will do is I'll go back here and I do cargo wash test, which is the same guy at the, that I have all the time because I have these aliases. And I do that. Boom. Huh, interesting. I don't like that because now, yep. I don't like that. You are going to understand why. So because when I want to test this one, I don't want to test the other guy. I don't need it. So this is why the name is good. And so in fact, it's funny because there's often the symmetry here. So in fact, is this Lexer guy. I shouldn't have meta extract. Extract. I don't have to have meta extract. It's going to just extract MD blocks and content. Good. Because before we had this. And now for stuff, make sure you do that on the spot because otherwise it's not consistent and it's annoying. And now, if I do same stuff, just one, which is what I want. So that is pretty good. And now, so I do my meta extract. So remember what we want now is okay. What we want is to, I'm going to call it the fixture. We already have it because it's the component. And so the exec, let value root, that is a good name, value root, and then content. And then Copilot, Copilot, not too bad. So we do that, it runs the stuff, but right now it does nothing. And then we're going to have our debug, and then we're going to have our print here. It's my Rust 10x stuff, and then content. I'm going to press save just to say that I fall back into my fit, which is great. So that is the content without the meta blocks. Yeah, that's good. And then if we have the value root, that will be new, which is good, which is what we want, because that is what we did the stuff. So now I have my things set up to be iterative. So again, every time I work, for everything is I spend a little bit more time to be iterative. I want to save and see the stuff. Save, see the stuff. Yeah. Welcome to the live stream Q&A. What? I'm still learning here. Oh, wow. Thanks a lot. Okay, I'm still learning YouTube. I'm getting good. And actually, I need to find, but I can give away the, and I need to do that for my Patreon first. I can give away some stuff up my first level, I think, because YouTube make a limit on what I can give away, which is the $4.99. So I can give that away. I need to learn how to do it. I don't even need to do it. But now I understand what it is. And sometimes I look channel and say, big thanks here to Gertrudes Sampaio. Oh, your last name is cool. So thanks a lot. And we'll have one on Tuesday or Wednesday about the Rust web app production, multi-tenant stuff. So it's going to be serious stuff. And values extract. And so now I'm happy because I do my thing here and I have this. And test stuff, I don't need this. I can remove that. And then I have my neural here. Boom, boom, boom. And that is, I am in a happy state. So now I can go back to my function and I can just do that. So what we're going to use is 2ML. So we have the 2ML, this guy. I think I had the thing in Safari here. Okay. Oh, look at this. We're going to do something pretty cool. Okay, guys. Going back to my DVI. I'm sorry, the DVI is too cool. So I do a DVI run craft code. Yeah, so this is the thing. And we're going to say, and we test it, yeah. Using Rust 2ML, how to parse a content string. I mean, this is easy, yeah, but whatever. And then make it a CRD JSON value. So I could do ChatGPT. I like that because, so ChatGPT is good. I don't like Copilot chat. I use Copilot. I pay for Copilot. It's not a money problem. My recommendation to everybody, pay what you use. As long as you use them, pay. It's not an issue. The value we give back is always highest. DVI is free. It's fully open source. It's MIT and stuff. But then you, thank you. Really appreciate the nice words here. This really, I'm working hard. I'm trying to share a lot. We're going to share a lot of production coding this year because actually I have my team at Rust starting to do using our blueprint for production for clients. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I'm also planning to create an app.brightsnow.com for my clients and even users that will use the blueprint. So I'm going to work a lot on the blueprint. So it's going to be a very good feedback loop. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate the comment. So here's the thing. So I do a DVI run. So it's a command line. You do cargo install. This is a DVI video that I've done. I craft code. This is a new cool stuff for the people that don't know it. And basically what that is an agent that you can customize, that you can rewrite is here. That is the code of the agent, craft code. And there's Lua. So it's the DVI has Lua inside because it's very small. It's very efficient. And what it does, it allows me to ask a question and I have my own prompt. So you can control your prompt. You can copy it, make it your own. And I say, don't give me explanation. I don't like it, except when I ask. And so that is what it gives me and is using, what am I using? Claude. Okay, well, Claude is pretty good at coding. But otherwise, I often default to ChatGPT. So 2ML, 2value, CRD version, okay, that's cool. That's okay, so that is the way it did it. It's fine. Otherwise, you can keep it, but I understand what they did that. and convert to ML, and it's do the things, it kind of parse. So this is the easier way here. And then I get the convert and I get to ML, and that is, oh, it's funny. I would have assumed that they will have something. So this is why I don't often trust AI. Always use AI, don't trust it. So this one might be right, might be wrong. I don't really care that much. So if I go to my ChatGPT, so in Rust, does so sometimes the ChatGPT can search, might have does TOML or CD. JSON has a convenient way to do from TOML value to JSON value. And then we'll go to the doc. So often when I code is, it's never be ashamed to ask AI. So we have to embrace it. And the more you use it, the more you know where it's good and where it's bad. So it's very important to use it. I went a little bit overboard with my DVI and agentic and stuff, but use tools, whatever, Surf, Bolt, Copilot, doesn't matter. Let people fight for you. Just embrace it, but understand what it generates. Yeah, so there's going to be two kinds of developer, the one that understand what the AI generate and the one that doesn't understand what it generate. We are part of the latter one, and we are going to be better because of it. So yes, you can conveniently to ML. So what did it say? From string? Oh. That's disappointing. So you see, like my DVI, and it's not my DVI, yeah? It's like people are going to blame my DVI. So if I were going to ask the same question, to be fair, sometimes the way we prompt it makes a big difference. That we're using Claude Sonnet right now. So in my prompt, I say don't give any explanation. So that's why. So it goes back there, so which is weird. Yeah, and it's not because it doesn't give explanation. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to go to my DVI config, and I'm going to use deep chat. All right, we're going to use ChatGPT to see. Hey, Claude, that's not cool. That's not cool, Claude. Did you chat? Run. Hey, Christophe, thanks a lot for stuff. So we're doing, I'm going to try to explain a little bit what we're doing quickly. What? Oh, DeepSeek chat, I like to. Those two ML or JSON has a convenient way to do the two. That's so easier the ChatGPT hallucinator stuff. So bottom line here, Christopher, and the new one here, I'm going to go super fast. So here is such as I don't waste too much time. So my goal here is for DVI is going to be super powerful. I want to allow a Lua script, but I'm going to implement it in Rust because then I have Lua calling Rust to parse a content, and any TOML or YAML files that have this shebang, meta, will get extracted out, pulled out of the content, parsed, merge into a root value. So all of that will be flattened with this guy. Yeah, so I can have multiple if I want, multiple language if I want it. And then, but I still have blocks that might not have meta. And so those ones, I don't want to remove them because that will be useful for the prompt. And here I don't support Python for meta, so this one will be kept as such as well. So that is what we did in this meta extractor module. And we have this Lexer here, and you can see the video here where we have all the state. Now, where we are right now, we say it's pretty cool. We have our extract MD blocks content. So that is a meta blocks. So I have the two blocks, and that is the content without the meta blocks. You know, the meta blocks is the one that has TOML and shebang stuff. Now, what I want is take the meta blocks, and I want to return a value, a serdate value. The reason why I want a JSON serdate value is because, yes, it's going to be 2ML, but it might be YAML and everything. And usually everything kind of normalize around serdate value, serdate JSON value. So I want to parse it and do the thing. Right now, I had done a little test over there that does the just return null, okay? So this is what I want to do. Now, I was saying, hey, how do we parse and things? So one thing I like is either you go to the doc or AI stuff. AI is great. Don't trust AI. And today it was interesting, yeah, because ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and even Claude and stuff, when I say, hey, can I take a 2ML and make it a JSON, they all give me this kind of things where I do it by hand. But ChatGPT knows that function, which I think exists. So we're going to test that. And it's the one, ChatGPT 4, even DeepSeek Chat missed it. So that is a little bit, so the UI did that. And here I'm using DVI, where it's using my GenAI stuff, and I'm having a similar stuff. So we're going to do that here. We're going to do this guy. So what we're going to do is meta value. So again, I'm not going to merge right now because I want step by step. So what I want is, again, I like to iterate. So I just want to send back one value. So, and right now I send back null, which is fine. So I'm going to have two value. So I'm going to say, sorry, if let sum and I'm going to say this one. I do that. Sometimes it doesn't like that, but okay, cool. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking ownership because I'm okay to do the ownership. So that is the way I do it. If I did a first, I'm going to have a reference, which is fine because actually the parser doesn't need to have the owner of the string. But I'm going to do that because I will use that later anyway. So I'm going to do it and X. So here I'm just taking the first and I'm consuming it. So I lose the second. It's fine for now. Now I have the meta block. So remember, we have the language and the thing. So if let sum, and I'm going to say language. So now we do stuff. And remember, the let sum is the type that we had. It has a lang, which is 2ML or whatever, and the content. Yeah, so far so good. So I'm going to say if let sum, we're going to have the lang. And I think we can even do that. I think we can, 2ML, sorry. I think we can do that. I don't know. Meta block lang as the ref. Yeah, I think this. Oh, that works. Okay. So as the ref send the reference of str, and the let and the match has this cool stuff where you can put static values here, and then it will do the thing. So if it's 2ML, we are there. If it's not, okay, if it's not, we're going to say a return, and look at this. Because we're in the boxed in here, we can do a return error And then we do, can do format. Lang not support lang. And that we're going to put that stuff there, not supported for metablock. I like the name metablock. And then I have okay, I'm sorry. So now I'm going to do a match. Okay, it's going to be better. Now I'm going to understand why. Because I'm going to use this opportunity to have a nice, to have the beginning of what I'm going to want. And I don't want to fill it because, so if we have the same sum stuff, okay, then we're going to do, and I put the slash like this, is formatted, otherwise it's kind of collapse everything. So do the 2ML stuff, okay? Now, if it's sum and other, that is where we're going to return this error. And now we have the other guy. And then don't forget to do the into, okay? Because that is the way it works. Yeah, it's not complete here. And then the other one, if it's none, then it's going to be a return error. And then now I can do the stuff and say meta blocks. It can be static, I mean, must have compatible. Like into. Not to string, into, because it's into the error. When you do a question mark, you don't need to do the into. Boom. Compiles. We're super happy. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Feel free. I'm still... let me see if I can move. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's what we did here. Is we did the meta as the ref here. If the block is 2ML, we're going to do our work. If it's not, we're going to do the return error. So far so good. The thing here that we're going to do is I'm going to say let value. We'll do something like that. We need the else. And then we're going to say value new. And value new. That is the way I will do it. Yeah, so I will do it like a fix me is mean that I shouldn't commit without fixing it. To do means might be later. And then I have value here. Cool. Compiles, and I have metablock must have a compatible thing. Oh, that's funny. Oh. That's weird. And you know what? That is my mistakes. Pretty bad. Because this means, so I'm not going to fix it there. The problem here is, I remember, yeah, I didn't capture the lang. And when I did the test, I didn't test the lang. That is pretty bad. This is I tested the content, but I didn't test the lang. So I'm going to go back to this one where I test my Lexer, okay, my extract empty block. And this is a meta block, and I have two meta blocks. Yeah. So you can... The content of the meta blocks is good, but I think I forgot to do the thing. So I'm going to do git add, git log, This is the way I'm doing because everything is working pretty nicely. And so I might change stuff. So either you create a branch or whatever, but I'm going to do a git c, git commit add stuff. And then I'm going to say working on the first pass of extract. What was the name of the guy? Meta extract. Of the merge values. Actually, this is what the stuff. What happens is often when I do the development, working, I'm looking at your question here. It's so first, Christmas here. Hey, tomorrow is my Amazon SD1 interview, and it tips. No, I don't know how. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Nothing comes to mind, and the reason why is I don't know what Amazon interview looks like and what they are looking at. So I'm assuming, I don't know if you are looking for a Rust job or if you are looking for, another kind of developer or DevOps or management or whatever. So I'm not really sure. For a Rust job, I think showing that you have been learning Rust the right way and you appreciate the fact. I think one of the greatest value of Rust for us, but even for me, because I haven't coded C++. I mean, my first language was C, back in the 90s, back sometime. I'm not going to say when, because I was very young, moreover. So when I was 14. So when you say 14 and moreover, the fact that I'm not young anymore, it's too old to say. But the point is, then after I didn't do C and C++ for years, because I was more in the Java and all these kind of things. So if you haven't done C and C++ for a long time, doing multi-threaded and everything, it's get very tricky. I don't feel confident to do it. Now with Rust, that is the beauty of it. The language, the construct allows you to do multi-threaded. Even in Java, it's not thread safe. But in Rust, the way it's done, if you don't do unsafe, it's thread safe. So for me, for like companies like Amazon and stuff, is great because they are in the business of saving CPU stuff. And so if they have good Rust developers, they don't have to have the 15 years of C++, and now they can implement really cool stuff. So I think saying that is good, and saying that you have been learning a lot of stuff to do production quality stuff, have the production mindset. I think that might be helpful. If it's in another language, I don't really know how Amazon kind of thing. So, but good luck, best of luck, and please come back to this Discord or live to tell us how it goes, and crossing fingers for you. And so the thing I'm saying is, I did bad. That's it. There's no way around it. And the reason why I did bad is because I did bad in my implementation and I did bad in my test, because at least I didn't have to test everything, but I could have tested. So now I'm going to take this function. That is the way I work all the time. I have cargo wash test, and I don't use bacon test because it's trying to be too smart on the no capture. So cargo wash test is very simple. It has a no capture and everything. So it comes there, and then and validate the thing. So here I can try to break it if I do that. No, not that. If I do that, it will break because it doesn't have this. I use D because D is below, it's the easiest key to press. Now it works. That's good, I'm there. And then I'm going to do, so that is my first block. And I'm going to assert equal how is it work? No, usually they like to have the, every time, I don't know, block lang. I can do an OKR, okay, to should have lang, or meta block should have it. Do a question mark, which is probably what is going to fail. And then we do the as deref. It's a little bit long. I might do an essay. And then I'm going to compare it to TOML. And we should get this guy. I think that was my error. Okay, it complains. Fair enough. So I'm going to take that guy and I'm going to put it there, lang, and check the type. Oh, sorry. As deref, okay, that's fair. Oh no, it's not as deref anymore. Oh no, the as deref, honestly, I should go here. Like boom, I have my str now, and then I compare it over there. Why he complains here? Oh, it's no question mark. Oh my God. So, and he complains, and he will complain, I think meta blocks is the thing I was saying. It should be here because we don't capture the meta block. So, the reason why I don't capture the meta block is because in my meta extractor, and now this is where I get a little bit cool, the fact that I split the things away. Yeah? So when we close a block, remember is when we close a block, that is where we create the meta block. We had a meta block here, which is the current meta block. This is, the type of this is this guy. Yeah. And that is where, so who is creating the current meta block? That is our problem. The one that created doesn't do that. So search as mute. And that is the thing here. Aha. Yep. But a line here shouldn't be the save prev line, so it should be prev line. Because we're on the meta here. We're on the meta line. So it should be prev use line. Map. Prev line. That would be a prev line. And I think that should work. Cool. No, not cool. Okay, fair enough. It should be a and then. By the way, often I do map and then. Yeah, my brain is not sharp enough yet. So what we have now and our test passes. And so what we did before, if we took the line, but remember this, when we are capturing meta line, we are past the previous line of the tick, tick, tick. So when we did that, it was always known. So now we have it. Now it's pretty cool. And now that we have that, sorry for the big CC here. Now we have that, we can go back to our block value parser. No, sorry. We can go back to our test because we want to test that guy. Can go wash test. That's my aliases. Boom, I have the new, nothing complains now. And so I go back there. Oh no, that doesn't matter. Now I go back to my meta, to my merge, and then I will take so here I'm going to do a silly test, but this is, I will do that. So in this live, I do what I will do, okay? And when I do my video, edited video for everybody, I'm trying to, you know, have a condensed version of the story. Yeah? And I give also some tips here, but giving that would be too long videos here. But here, I just want to make sure that I'm hitting this guy. So I will just do that. Fair enough. I know, perhaps not that. No. I think I can do that. Can I do that? Okay, good. Boom, I have the number 1. So now I know very quickly without having doing stuff. I didn't even do a print because I do the print in my test here of the value. I know that I have that. So I'm pretty happy. So now we go back to our, actually, this is the thing I wanted to go back to my craft code business. So we're going to do that guy and then that guy. Okay. So we're going to do that guy. Okay, fair enough. We're going to do that. I'm going to do the magic stuff over there. Go back there to try to learn to do that. Okay, so fair enough. What we're going to say is value is Saturday, and we're going. Well, in this case, we don't. I don't actually. No, actually, you know what? Value is going to be the Saturday JSON value. And then the other one, we don't have that. We can use that. It's good enough. So I'm going to go back here. Oops, sorry. Go back here. That. And so I do a 2ML value. This is the same thing. I don't need to alias everything. The 2ML string here is going to be let content. I'm going to do like that. Meta block content, just to know, yeah, I have a string, that's fine. Okay, so that's not too bad. And then we go to the craft code. I'm just disappointed that Claude and DeepSeek didn't give me that, but we'll see if it's hallucination. But that makes so much sense, yeah, but we'll see. Set the JSON to value, and we say value, because for us it's a value. Works? DeepSeek, not cool. And now we do that. And now we have that, which is amazing. So what I will do is, that is what we wanted. Yeah, so we parse the stuff. So what we did here is our Lexer, and you can go to the URL here. There's a GitHub where you can play with it. So actually, I can push that. So git log. I'm going to remove the thing git amend and git commit amend, and then this will be what we're going to say. I'm going to have the till, which is progress, because it's not finished. Merge values works with the first meta block. So this repo, again, I'm going to cherry pick code to put it in my dev AI. So this repo is more like to share. Boom. So you have it there. You have it at the top of the chat, and in the description you have the thing. So now, and then after we'll call it a session, not a day, because I will probably do another live stream later about SQLite and Rust. So it's going to be the part 5, and it's going to be about threaded and multi-threaded. So I already have a lot of lives. You can look, I think one is still public. great Tudors, you have everything, because the live stream have access to the whole stack. And you are going to have hundreds, thousands of hours of video because I'm streaming like crazy. What we're going to finish here is we do the merge value, because I think we're pretty close. And because we like our AI business, we are going to use things. I'm super disappointed at DeepSeek. That is, I'm like, oh, is it DeepSeek that gave me that? No. It's DeepSeek that gave me that. What am I doing? No, it's not DeepSeek. It's because I did undo. So DeepSeek is giving, it's probably work, but it's silly. This is silly code. So this is why when you use AI, okay. This is one thing I've noticed with AI. Yeah? I mean, except if I dreamed it, before it didn't give me that. It gave me the silly stuff. And now I'm giving me the right thing. At least I'm happy now, I guess. Might have been tired this morning. No. So this is the thing I've noticed when you do the coding. It's sometimes they give a good response and a bad response. It's weird. And it's a little bit annoying. And if we were going, and I'm sorry here, because if we take the rezoner, which is not ready for these kind of things, but anyway, let's see what we get. Hey, Cyprien, Avico. Cool d'avoir des Français. Mais c'est tard chez vous. Ouais, 10h30. 10h30. Peut-être que t'es peut-être un Français ici comme moi. I'm sorry, guys, I'm talking French. I see Cyprien. This is a cool name. Paf. Yeah, you see, this one is better. Well, so we're going to use the rezoner. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to use that. And so now we know that we're going to get stuff in CRD, JSON. And what we want is we want to merge them. So in our things, we have a loop. Yeah, so this is what we're going to do. Yeah, we have this. And at the beginning, we're going to do a for in, and we're going to build, we're not going to do map and everything. Sometimes people like to do everything in map. The problem is when you do iter, map, and everything, if you have errors, it's always a little, it's possible this way, but it's getting cryptic too. So I use map sometimes, often iter map, but when I have errors, sometimes I use it, the thing. So what I will use is more the vector of that. So now we want to merge the two values. Yes, we have two JSON value. So one thing is going to create the JSON value, a loop, and will be the same function. Yeah, and then the other one will take all the JSON values and will merge it. Yeah. And here's the reason why I'm thinking. I'm thinking, oh, Toulon. Oh, our neighbor in San Francisco is in Toulon. So we have this fight with Toulon and de Clermont-Ferrand when I was little. But I've been in San Francisco for 25 years. So, yeah. Yeah. So now what I want is, I'm going to have the first one here, which is going to be the values. Capture the JSON values. And here's the reason why I'm thinking. I'm thinking about this two ways. Is, do I want to support deep merge or not? Because if I don't want to support deep merge, then it's much simpler. Because in a way, I have a value which is an object at the beginning, and then I just go to this one, and if it's a value, if it's an object, I'm going to assume it's an object and things. Or do I'm going to split them into the stuff. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have the let values, and it's going to be a vect new. And that is going to be, I'm going to put the type here, and that will be a vect of value, and this will be mute. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And in this case, I'm going to capture the JSON value. Oh, pardon, values, push, and then the JSON value. Yeah, so far so good. So I'm pushing that. Now I don't want to capture this because that is not going to be our pattern anymore. What we're going to do is run. If there's one error, we kaput. Honestly, I might change this logic and be more relaxed to say if there's not a lang and a meta. So first of all, I shouldn't reach that because if there's not a lang and a meta, it shouldn't really be cut in the previous guy. So it should be okay. The reason why I have the meta block like that is because the right way of doing it is to have I might do that. I might create a meta block with only the enum that I have, such as I don't have to have that. I know that whatever I have in the meta blocks, this is the right way of doing it. It's rather to have this. I'm going to tell you the right way. So I can have the MD block, perhaps. I don't know, but I have an MD block in stuff. But the way here that I will do is a meta block. And I will have pub lang, and it was meta lang. I'm sorry for the stuff here. And you're going to understand. And then I will have pub content string. So I think this is a better way. And this is why I love Rust. Yeah? So I will have pub enum meta lang. And then I have the 2ML. And then eventually I will have the YAML or whatever I want. Okay? So this way, my meta block extractor will actually extract really meta blocks. And so when I parse, there is no like big surprise to say, hey, you know, this lang is not supported anymore, which is what we want. Yeah, so I will go this way. So not in the future, use a meta block rather than the generic MD block when extract blocks. Okay. So this is what we should use. I wanted to start simple and stuff, but that is what we should use. So these guys will go away because we'll know that we will support. Now I can still fail on the parsing and stuff, but at least we'll know. Yeah. And so I'm going to go back to value new, because I want my loop to work. I'm sorry. I want my loop to work. I want my loop to work, so stuff. So now I have this, and I'm capturing this guy. If I really wanted, I will do that. This is one thing I will do if I were alone. I will do value length. And boom, I check. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. This makes sense because I have the things. I have only one because staff, so that's cool. So right now here, with just staff like this, I can kind of see my staff. Like here I'm hacking because often we don't have the flexibility of having a value return, but that's stuff. So it allows me to avoid to do things. So now I don't want that. And so if what I want is for meta block. Okay, and I think and I think I don't even need the it here. I think boom, and then it's 2. This is what I wanted. So we got our 2 values over there, and now we need to merge it. Okay, so I'm going to go back we can add ChatGPT, or like this my DVI here is fine with my craft code. So I say in Rust using CRD JSON, I have this Rust, and then and I want to create a merge value of all of a deep merge, where we're going to start merge of all those values, ignoring so if it's not object I want to ignore, I don't think even I can have, I guess YAML can return an array, but I'm going to keep track only of the name value pair, because in my use case, that's the only thing I need. So I go back to this guy, I do a refresh. I'm using the low one, well, the smart one. Merge, that's fair. So that is a JSON map, which I think is true. Then I go to all the values, okay. And then I do a value object of things, okay, and I ignore it if it's not. Okay, so far so good. The object for a value, I have the key, I have the value. Hey, you know what? It seems to be pretty good. And it has a map over there, and it has a value over there, which is the stuff. That seems to be actually pretty good. So I'm going that. And as long as you understand what it generates and you validate and you question it and stuff, it's use AI. There's no reason to not use it. And so I'm going to go there. So we capture the stuff. And so one of the reasons why I have DVI is because I want DVI to learn. I have a whole strategy stuff, but I want to be able to use DVI to use my patterns, and then such as I can code my pattern faster. So for example, my Lexer pattern, I like it. You know, I grew it and stuff, and sometimes I can query, ask, and say, hey, this pattern is nice, or this one is better, what is the pro cons and stuff. And so I want to use it to learn and become better, yeah, to like really become better, because once you understand what you generate, I think there's much more power that we can do that when people generate code that they don't. Yeah. So capture the JSON values, and then we're going to say merge the values into one. Not will assume that the values are object. Does not do deep merge for now. And we're going to use a reasoner. It's very cool to have the reasoner like this. We're going to look at it. So this is pretty cool. So we have the values. Why does this guy is complaining here somewhere? Oh, yeah, fair enough. So we have the values, merge values. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is pretty good. Fair enough. I think... yeah, it's already a value. Sorry. So I did that. We can remove that because we agreed. No, we cannot remove this one, but we can remove that. By the way, I'm curious. What is this map business? It's a JSON map business. It's a JSON. Well, that's cool. This is a cool way of doing it. So it's not a deep merge. It does not do deep merge. That is very important. Yeah? So this means that if someone writes a stuff, he will overwrite the one on top of it, which is, for my use case, is perfectly fine. And now, file craft. Oh no, sorry, I'm there. Oh, look at that. It works. We have the files array, we have the model, DeepSeek, we have the temperature. And if we go to our test, okay, here it is. That is where I get the model and the files. And then he skip everything out, and then he went and got the temperature from this guy, which is 0. So if I change it here, but it's 0 anyway, it is good. And then that's it. And that is pretty cool. And so now we'll go there, and I will do some assert content, but not too much. And honestly, here I'm going to copy paste, should put that in the function. That's not very proud of that, but that's fine. So I don't need, well, I'm going to keep the check for now. Check. So I'm going to check the content, okay? And now the value route, I'm going to do, so I have a crate, but you don't have to use it. But this one is just me things, yeah. Which is, so this one, I'm not saying you should use it. You can create your own. It's a value ext. I think this one is mine. Yeah. So value ext, I have xget, I have a set of extension stuff, which is nice. So what we can do is, I use it in production, but what you can do is that, go back there. We're going to do that. And now that we have this, you're going to understand assert equal, we're going to do the value root dot x get as, or get, you see I have these things, it's whatever. I don't have the I32, I should have the I32. That should be F64 00. Macro, fair enough. Something is wrong, fair enough. Question mark, can have an error. Boom, passes. Now, what I want is that, say get str, I think, stuff, and that will be the model, and that will be that guy. Passes, so far so good. And then, the array guy, the array guy. I don't have a get array guy, so I would say no, I don't have that. That would be cool. But AI sometimes assumes stuff, so I should have that, but I should have as, it's tricky array because in JavaScript it's not stuff. So I will do a x. So I will use the as array. Okay. And then I think this is return an array which is vector value. So as array, I have vector value now. Okay, good to do that. Good. This is a one. As array, I'm sorry, files, I guess. Yeah. What? I know. This is what I like. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a little bit annoying here. Get files. This is why the API of JSON is okay, but this optional stuff. I think that will return something. Yeah, so that will return an option. So that when you have option, usually you do the and then. Now we have the option of the vect. What we're going to do, that is the way I like to do it. OKR. And because I have the boxed in, this is a boxed in business. Yeah? I love my boxed in. That is this guy. And so it has a whole into from string static, should have files. My complaint, by the way, no, okay, it's files. Is it files? Yeah, it's files. So now we have the array like that, and then we do an array, strs, I mean, this array. And let's see if the compiler. Yeah, epic fail. What is this? This is a right way. It is not too bad. It's almost that. It's annoying. I'm being slow here. Sorry, guys. What does this guy returns? The right way is collect and then a vect. This will be the stuff. Okay, that will be a vector of option of str. That's fair. And then we do, I think, a little bit hack here. I'm sorry here. Unwrap or default. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. I'm trying to not do stuff. So sometimes that is the thing in Rust, sometimes it's a little bit tricky. So now I have my vect of things, and I should be able to say assert equal, and I'm going to do my str. I'm going to do references, so like this is stuff. And then I should be able to do something like that, which is, this is why I like to have my debug print over there, because I'm happy with that. So I just copy that and I put it there. I put it there. Boom, it works. That was laborious, but then after it works. So this is why I have these things here. It's easier. At some point, I should have a x get str arrays or some helper function like that, because this helps a lot when you work with JSON. So that is pretty cool. I mean, this was a good session. It's another one of 2 hours, but I'm pretty happy. So what we did here, I'm going to do a recap of what we did. And what we did is what I wanted to do in this kind of Lexer is my things that I need for my dev AI is I want to allow people to have a Markdown files, the user having a Markdown files where they can have text, they can have block code, But if the block code has a language that I support and has this shebang stuff, which is a comment of the language, because I might support Lua as well. So if it's Lua, it will be like that, obviously. Yeah, that will be comment. I want the inside to be valid language, whatever we do. So I do the TOML over there, and then if there's a shebang over there, I want this code block to be removed from this content. So the return value will have a content without it. So it won't remove it in place. Yeah? It will return a new content without the meta blocks. So that is what I call the meta blocks. Those are not meta blocks, so I don't want them to remove. This one is not a meta block because the language is not a meta blockable code block. So it's not a meta block. And then I want to return the content without that, but then after I want to merge all of this guy. Hey, Manuel, thanks a lot. Really appreciate. Next live stream for the members will be this Tuesday, I think. Tuesday or Wednesday, noon Pacific time. And if I'm polling people for the best time, I can repoll people and for the topics as well. So you guys can decide the topic and can decide the stuff. So it's pretty cool. And then you have access to all of these guys for life indefinitely. And the thing here is that we are going, so that is what I wanted to do. And then after I want to merge all of these guys. And that's it. This is what we did here, and it works beautifully. I have my little test. I did that in a repo. I put the repo in my Jeremy Chon, that channel organization or whatever it's called on GitHub. And you can see it. And now I can go. Okay, I'm going, this is a very good question here, Cyprian. Why not put each assert in separate test? I have the answer. I'm going to finish this one first. So I did that, it works. We had one test that tests the private function, which is extract MD block, which later I'm going to change that way, perhaps in my code, such as we know that whatever we have, we support it. And then we also take the MD extract, which is the one which is public, which I will bind to Lua for my DVI. So Lua will be able to call that. It's going to be awesome. And in fact, in Lua, the way you will be able to call it is this way, where you say content utils. This is what I put in the global scope. Text, meta extract, content. You get the value object and the content. Value object, which could be null or empty. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. No, I have. Will be empty. It's good that it's empty, because in Lua, in scripting, when you do something for scripting, you want to be not unsound or not too much unsound, but you want to be flexible. You don't want people to do too much if-else, because the goal of a scripting language is to be concise, and the goal of a full language, I would say, is to be complete. This is the way I see it. So that's why they both complement each other. And so that will be the cool stuff here. And then after, my agent will be able to take the value object and then do super cool stuff with it. It's going to be awesome. And then that's it. And so we did the merge value. The merge value is calling this guy. It's going to merge the value, create the things. We have all of that. And we decided here, I didn't need to do a test for this guy, just tested this guy. Cyprien, I'm not forgetting your question. And Cyprien. And for once, I have the right accent. And what I want to say, now I can remove my debug here. I have my debug that. And so usually what I do is, see, that is what I use for my debug prints. By the way, I'm going to do a new, another live stream after this afternoon. I might change it by this, which looks weird, but the reason why is because that is used for JSON B in Postgres, I think, and in SQLite, like we have seen yesterday. And so it's very important for me to have these things where I can search for that across everything. So the way I do it now is before I commit, I do a search that, and I remove these guys. So these guys, I know I need to remove it. I don't want to put it in the commit. These guys now, I know I want to remove it. And then that's it. So usually I remove all my debug prints like that. Now, in the repos that you have seen, since it's just a live coding repo, you know, sometimes I do commit with that, but that is the things. So do that. Okay. Cargo test. Should test everything. Everything should pass. And I'm pretty happy. Feel free to ask questions. I'm going to answer back your questions. So the question was, why not put each assert in separate test functions, I would assume. You don't want to do, you could. So in one way, honestly, so you wouldn't put every assert in separate function. That's not necessarily the way you would do it because, for example, it's fine. You want to test, you know, that the block has two properties and these kind of things and stuff. Now, where I agree with you, Cyprien, is this test, but that is kind of, but even in my code AVI, I will reuse that. Test a lot. Yeah, it's a mega test because I test that you have the 2ML with the meta with 2, the 2ML with the meta with 1. I don't test that you have the 2ML with meta with nothing. But I have 2ML, I text Python with a meta, which shouldn't be taken and anything. So if I wanted to be a little bit more, and so here's my approach. My approach is I do that. I miss one, by the way. I should add, see, I'm going to commit here and star mean major or whatever, working first pass and test on the, and usually what I do is at the beginning, I put what is about. This is the way I do it. I share my way of working. It's the right way of working is a way that works for you. Okay, so make sure here there's no stuff. And now you always need to, every time you code is let's be 1% better than yesterday. That's it. That's the rule of coding. And so the thing I'm saying is, in this case where you are right, Cyprien, is I test too much here. I will split the test in multiple to test or if it thinks and stuff. But for that function, for my scope, I don't need. If I have one that tests, that is a mega test like this, it's enough for me for now. And then if I feel that when I start finding bugs or whatever, that does become an issue, then I will split it out. If it's a core things, I will split it out as well. This one has a little bit too much, and in fact, it's going to have even too much right now because I'm going to test that case, which could be. So it's not only to have one assert, it's more, you know, how can you have, you know, making sure you don't test too much at once, but there's also benefit to test too much at once because sometimes there's code that happen, but it's tricky, yeah, because sometimes maybe the code, like there's one thing I don't test, which is important, is this guy, back to back, because I have quite a bit of Lexers in a thing. So when you have the back to back is something I think in my code is okay, but it's something to test, yeah. So eventually, you know, things. So there's another test here that I wanted to say, hey, what happened if there's a guy with nothing? You know, does the thing breaks? And I think it should be okay. It's not. It's not because, oh, no. No, it's fine. So that is just to say there's 3 meta blocks, which is fine because it's stuff. So I'm going to actually change it here. So again, here I'm doing the meta. I have these big things. If I wanted, I could split it in smaller ones. Yeah. So now I'm going to do that, which is fine because I have 3 meta blocks, but what I don't want is to break the rest, yeah? Cargo test. That is interesting. Yeah, it broke. So this is a good point here. Some value 2. Okay, I need to look. Why? Doesn't make any sense. Why was that break? Okay, there's something here. I thought I had the stuff. So that might be time, to say, well, now I need to like split my test. Yeah, so it's not about having one assert. It's more like make them composable, such as you can test one bit at a time. Now, the thing I don't understand is why. This is why I did a commit before. Why adding? Why? More if I add a valid one? Okay, I'm going to work on that. Feel free to test it. There's something here where now it bugs me. Oh, I know, because I had 2 guys, I think. I have the ND extract. Okay, now the stuff. There's the next question here. I would love to know your prediction for the future on Rust on the web. I am at a fork on the staff, and I decide to deep dive in Rust and pivot to Go. Okay, so that is a good question. I would assume here that your question, Matt, is about the server side. Because when people say web often, it's 2 different things. They talk either about the server side or they talk about the WASM on the client side. The WASM on the client side, my perspective. So I make a distinction between opinions and perspectives. It's not that perspective is not truth, but opinions is based on beliefs, perspective is based on expertise and experience. And usually scars. When you start doing silly stuff, I've done silly stuff. I betted on Xforms back in 2000. Xforms was a dead end. I had a guy working for me at Oracle that said, hey, you sure it's very complicated? I said, no, I had this X client and this whole thing. We had, stuff. And in fact, it was a kitchen sink. Yeah. So we all make mistakes and we all have scars. And so if we learn well, we say, okay, I was wrong there. So I debugged myself and I say, I was wrong. So my perspective on WASM is that on the client side, on the browser side, WASM could be good if you have a heavy processing, like a video processing or whatever. I did a video on that, yeah, where I explain it. If you try to do WASM to manipulate the DOM and do your form entry and all this kind of click and normal DOM manipulation stuff, I don't think it's the right tool for the job. And I don't think, I love Rust, obviously, yeah, my channel. But when I do UI, I code it in JavaScript/TypeScript because TypeScript is JavaScript. and I want to be very close of the DOM, of the document object model. Actually, I do custom elements. I don't do React and stuff even. But the point is you want to be close to the runtime. So on the client is that. On the server now, and I think is where you are coming on here, and yeah, WASM is cool. I'm not saying WASM, I'm not putting down the WASM. I'm just saying WASM is not the universal hammer for web UI. That's it, which I think everybody agrees. The thing on the server side between Go and Rust is, for me, for example, my business, Brightsnow, and the clients are actually, we're doing Rust on the backend. Because Rust, the value of Rust is, once you get the value and you make the investment, I think it's huge. Because it's super reliable, the crates and the stuff are super high quality. You have a runtime which is super small, which can work on a Crash Linux or whatever, container or whatever. So you run things on nothing. It's super memory efficient, and you can save a lot of cost, and your code is stronger. The catch is the team has to agree with it and have to be excited. You cannot have a team force a language on a team that they don't want. So if you have people that say, hey, Go, I'm very productive in Go and stuff, and I watch this and this YouTuber or whatever, and they say Go is better and it's easier, so it's easier and stuff. The problem with easy, I mean, I don't want to go too deep here, but the problem with easy is that problem, yeah? Often when you do the easy, you have this problem. You have the problem where the complexity kind of rise up. This is what you have, yeah? So you go easy first, you say, hey, okay, I go easy first, and then boom, complexity goes first. And then if you go architecture first, you kind of flatten the complexity curve. And then with a blueprint, you even flatten it more. So that is a little bit our approach, my approach for the last 15 years. Now, that being said, Go is a very robust language on the server side. There is nothing that is wrong about I don't like the language personally, but now if there's a client comes and say, hey, we have a team and they're using Go and everything, you know, should I change to Rust? I say no. Yeah, if they are happy in Go and stuff, Go is a decent language. People can be very productive with it. If the team likes to like Go and they are very productive, don't change it. Yeah, for your web server, you don't need it. If I start something from scratch and I have a team that is okay with Rust, I will go with Rust, no brainer. And so that is what I do for my business. I train my team. I have a remote team and stuff. I have developers. I train them and stuff. And so we all go Rust because we think it's good. But some company, like for example, I have some clients and they do Java Spring. And God knows that I, you know, whatever I think about this. But again, if your team is stuff is not fundamentally broken, and if you are careful about what you use, you can build a decent server. So that is my take. What is your opinion about Tori and a good idea to switch JS to you? That is a little bit, Cyprian, that is a little bit what I said before. For me, if you do a web UI, regardless if it's for Electron, Tori, a web browser, you know, a normal web browser and stuff, something that run in a DOM, except if you want to do a game where you will use Bevy because, you know, you want to have a never consuming loop and you want something very interactive, a game, for example, I will use Bevy. I will look at WASM and try to do that. And then hopefully the WASM doesn't manipulate the DOM, but just update binary bitmap or whatever, and then send that or something like that. Yeah. Because WASM always have to jump back to JavaScript. It doesn't do anything. WASM is a processing runtime. But every time you want to do something, it doesn't go to C, it goes back to JavaScript. So it's cute because we say, well, if Rust is good, it's performant. Well, yes and no. Yeah, your for loop is going to be performant, but every time you jump, it's going to be slower. When you pass numbers, I think it's okay, but when you start passing string back and forth, there's a lot of marshalling and stuff going on. So you don't gain. You probably it's a wash or whatever, but you don't gain. Now, if you do a canvas, or if you do a stuff like Figma and stuff, and then you really want to have things, then it makes sense. Yeah, then it might make sense. So people that are very advanced, I have the control of my bitmap, I use stuff, and I make sure that I don't go WASM to JS too often. and I do my heavy processing in JS, that could be very cool. So for Tori here, I would say, Cyprien, if you do the web UI, so I'm going to go further. Tori, web UI, learn CSS. Learn CSS grid. CSS grid is a little bit a pain, but it's a gem. Yes, can be a pain and a gem at the same time. So CSS grid is amazing. And it's a pain, yeah? But it's most of our code in good web apps is CSS. This is damn CSS, but it's so powerful when it's done right. And then after you have the component model, but learn the DOM. I mean, like React, I don't like React, but if teams use React, it's good enough and it's fit the stuff. Us, we use custom elements and native web components. Yeah? I'm not pushing one or the other. I'm just saying the use stuff is nice and it's very appealing because you say, oh, I'm going to code Rust, but then not really, yes, because it's not Rust. The runtime, the thing gets run into a browser, into a JavaScript at the end, more or less. You know, if it's even if it's WASM, so then you don't have access to the DOM, and then you're going to fight your way out. So I would say, learn the DOM, learn the stuff, stay close to the runtime. That's and this is why I love Rust, because when I do a Rust for the cloud, the backend, you are as close to the runtime, which is the operating system, as possible. And you are thread safe, which even Java is not. Yeah, so that is what I'm doing the stuff. Anyway, so I think we're like coming to a 2:30. Feel free to ask questions. I might, things here. There's one thing here which so there's two types of what I call a live stream. There's these ad hoc live streams here, and I have these kind of things here, process, such as everybody. I try to give as much as possible. And then we have the live stream member. Thank you a lot, Manuel Brivas here that joined as well. And that is more schedule and things. And I just started like, a few weeks and stuff. So I'm still learning to try to do more high quality, but I like this live streaming stuff a lot. So hopefully it's very cool. Yeah, CSS. Yeah. But, sometimes it's like people that complain SQL and then they go to ORM and they say, oh, my app is slow because it loads too much data. If you learn SQL well, and you need to have SQL Builder and abstraction and stuff, but you can get so much out of a good database if you go the extra mile. Yeah. Now, for simple apps and stuff, ORM might work. Yeah, I'm not saying stuff, but for us, we like to do that. So I have one bug here that I will, so you can look at the repo. I'm not going to do it live here. There's these things. I will add another guy which will be empty here to make sure that I can add. I'm not sure why I cannot add another guy here. So I'm going to add another guy somewhere. Actually, just after. And then I will make sure that I will do level or whatever, it doesn't matter. And then I will make sure that, well, actually I will add another guy like that, empty, and I will make sure that it doesn't break. So right now this somehow, it breaks some, oh no, it works. No, that's good. Very good. No, everything good. And then we should have a 3. Yeah, we have the box 3, so that's works. So so I don't know what happened before, but it might, yeah. So anyway, so hopefully everything, yes, Vue, I'm sorry, I use Vue.js, I try, put all the logic in Rust backend and use the frontend. Yeah, this is what I do. So I'm more a cloud guy. I had a very cool application in Awesome App, Reboot. I didn't put it open source because it's not finished and I did too much, and so I need to trim it down. But that is the way I do exactly what you're saying. So I use my DOM native approach, but Vue.js, Svelte or whatever, it's completely valid. CSS for the UI, and you try to do as much as possible in the Rust layer. So the UI is just about managing the UI stuff and things. And then every time you have an action, you go to Rust. this is what I'm the biggest fan of Tory. So this is awesome to do like that. And then you have the handler. And I would recommend, and this is a thing that I've done in my stuff, is look at JSON RPC. Because JSON RPC is kind of magic, because I had a model, hopefully this year, hopefully I will be able to share it, but where your UI actually can talk to Tory or can talk to a web. And that is thanks to JSON RPC. Because the problem of REST is we do all the gymnastic to say, oh, but in fact, is what we want is a function call. So it's not resource loading. Yeah? So when you download a CSV or whatever, yeah, sure, REST is good. But when you are trying to do a CRUD, because it starts with CRUD, but it never ends with CRUD. Yeah, you always have more things. And so you do all this gymnastic with put, post, patch, and everything, and all these silly names, rather to have just an RPC model. So you can go JSON RPC, but then often if you're on the web, then it's serialized to, so there's a lot of complexity to go back to JSON anyway. And the JSON RPC too, super simple. And you can build your own scheme with that. And the beauty of it is that it works. You can use the same model with a little bit of abstraction for Tory handlers, as well as your web backend in Axum. So that is a way that I'm architecturing the stuff, and it's pretty neat. So hopefully that was a good thread. I think I'm going to git log. Did I do what I wanted? Yeah, that's cool. Git log, and I say git log to make sure that I didn't push it, and git amend, because I amend this new stuff, and then GPO. You have the source, you can pick it up if you want and play with it and things. I think that will be the last session about this, this topic. And then I'm going to do another stream, I think today, about the SQLite, and we'll talk about the multi-threading, multi-processing stuff. It will be a public stream again, and then we'll follow the same process as this one. Okay, with that, big thank you for everybody that joined. Big an amazing thank you. That actually makes me super, people that join the live stream members. This is awesome. So Manuel and J. Turdes Sampaio. Love your last name. And then big thanks to you all, guys. And then big thanks to everybody as well for all the questions and stuff. I really appreciate it. And we're going to do another one, I think, today in an hour or something. I need to eat. And then it will be on SQLite, which will become a video that I'm going to publish later. So often this video, this one is something I needed to do for DevAI, but the Rust SQLite is a video that I'm going to do. So like typical videos that I have on my YouTube channel, yeah, the condensed one. And then I did the making of, in a way, live. So that's a cute one. And I think you can still see one if you're not a member. But otherwise, I keep them, like this one, I will keep them for 12 hours, such as people didn't watch everything, they can watch back. Okay, thanks a lot. And until next one, happy coding. Happy coding, not happy coding, parce que je sais pas comment on aide.